You've been feeling a different kind of pressure lately. It's not that common daily anxiety. It's something deeper, more silent, as if something significant is about to happen and you just can't put your finger on it. That feeling in your chest, that restlessness in your spirit, is not a sign of danger. It's a sign of nearness. And if you clicked on this video today, it was no accident. You were guided here because what I'm going to share in the next few minutes was made exactly for this moment in your life. Stay until the end, because the turnaround you've been waiting for starts with what you're about to hear. Let me ask you a direct question. Have you ever felt like you worked hard, truly dedicated yourself, did everything right, and yet your finances just wouldn't budge? You paid the bills, but there was never anything left. You tried, planned, believed, but it seemed like an invisible wall blocked every advance. If you're nodding your head right now, I want you to know one thing. That wall wasn't a lack of your effort. It was a season, and seasons end. What I'm about to reveal to you is a truth that bridges what science is beginning to understand with what spirituality has known for millennia. And when you grasp this, your relationship with money, with the future, and with God will change in a way you can't turn back from. Let's start at the beginning. There's a phenomenon psychologists call identity fatigue. This happens when a person has lived so long in survival mode, so focused on solving the immediate problem, that they literally forget who they were before the crisis. They stop seeing themselves as someone capable of thriving. They begin to treat scarcity as if it were their identity. And then something very subtle and very dangerous happens. The brain begins to sabotage them, not out of malice, but out of programming. The nervous system understands scarcity as the normal state and unconsciously pushes away any opportunity that threatens that state. Do you know what that means in practice? It means you might be blocking blessings without even realizing it. Not because you don't deserve them, but because your mind hasn't yet received the update that the time has changed. But here comes the part. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment that changes everything. There's also a spiritual principle that appears repeatedly in Scripture, which scholars of faith call kairos, which in Greek means the right time, the opportune moment, different from the chronological time we measure on a clock. Kairos is God's time. And the most striking thing is that modern neuroscience has found evidence that the human brain has cycles of cognitive renewal that happen naturally in moments of intense pressure, followed by silence. In other words, science has discovered there is a real measurable tipping point that happens after a period of resistance. Pressure precedes release. This isn't just theology, it's biology. And you who are watching this video right now, who have been through difficult seasons, who held on firm even without seeing results, who cried in silence but didn't let go of faith, you are exactly at that tipping point. Now I want you to understand something about the invisible structure of your finances. Most people think finances are just numbers, income, expenses, bank balance. But those who study financial behavior in depth know that money follows energy before it follows strategy. This isn't cheap mysticism. It's something the world's leading experts in economic behavior have documented for decades. The psychologist Daniel Kahneman, winner of the Nobel Prize in Economics, demonstrated that people's financial decisions are governed much more by emotional beliefs and unconscious patterns than by rational logic. Translating that to your life, if you grew up hearing that money is dirty, that the rich are thieves, that people like us aren't born for that, these phrases became codes inside you, and these codes operate on autopilot, making you turn down opportunities, minimize your worth, and accept less than you deserve. And here's where the spiritual dimension comes in a way that will make sense to you. When the Bible talks about the renewing of your mind in Romans 12:2, it's not talking about a superficial change to positive thinking. It's describing exactly what neuroscience calls neuroplasticity, the brain's real ability to reorganize itself, to create new neural pathways, to literally rewrite the patterns that determine how you live. The renewing of the mind is the mechanism by which the supernatural enters the natural. It's the bridge between God's decree and the reality you experience. And this renewal, when it begins, has symptoms. You start to have a clarity of ideas you didn't have before. That project that was stuck starts to make sense. You wake up with different energy. Small coincidences that seem impossible start to pile up. The right people cross your path. Doors that have been closed for years begin to show cracks of light. This isn't imagination. This is the beginning of a transfer. And I need to talk about transfer because this word is central to what's happening with you right now. In the spiritual realm, there's a principle called the transfer of wealth. It's not a concept invented by modern preachers to sell dreams. It's rooted in ancient texts. In Proverbs 13:22, the Bible says that the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. In Job, after all the desert, God restored double what had been taken. In Luke 15, the prodigal son who returned to the father received a feast, a ring, and a robe, not because he was deserving on paper, but because the father's heart was one of restoration and abundance. These aren't motivational tales. They are patterns. They are structures of how the kingdom operates. And what deep spirituality teaches is that there is a moment when the accumulation of faith, of silent obedience, of character built in difficult seasons reaches an inflection point. It's like a dam that has been filling for years until the water pressure is so great that the floodgates open. And the flow that comes has no proportion to what entered before. You are on that edge right now. But before I show you how to position yourself to receive this turnaround, I need to talk about the most dangerous enemy of this process. And this enemy has no horns or tail, it has your face, and its name is old identity. Think with me. Have you ever known someone who won the lottery and lost everything in a few years? Or someone who had an incredible opportunity and somehow wasted it? That's not bad luck. That's identity. When provision arrives at a level greater than a person's identity can support, they unconsciously destroy the provision to return to what they know. The brain is like that. It prefers the familiar, even if it's painful, to the unknown, even if it's good. That's why God doesn't just transfer resources, He transforms the receiver. And that's exactly why the process you're living through now makes so much sense. Every closed door in recent years wasn't rejection, it was protection and preparation. Every relationship that ended wasn't a loss, it was clearing space for what's coming now, to be received with integrity. Every moment you were misunderstood, underestimated, set aside, you were being sculpted. The pressure that forms a diamond isn't comfortable for the coal. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. Sarah is 47, lives in a small town in the Midwest, worked her whole life as a seamstress. She raised 3 children alone after her husband left her with debts and overdue rent. For years, she woke up at 5 in the morning and went to bed at midnight. She didn't complain. She prayed. She served at her church. She helped her elderly neighbor even when she didn't have enough for herself. There was no way in human logic to imagine Sarah's life would change. But in a period of 6 months, 3 things happened that no financial consultant would have predicted. A community grant program provided her with an industrial sewing machine and seed capital. Her oldest daughter won a full college scholarship, and a contract with a regional boutique turned her small workshop into a real business. Sarah didn't do anything extraordinary in those 6 months. She simply continued being who she was, and heaven did what heaven does when the heart is ready. Do you know a Sarah? Or perhaps you are the Sarah of your family. Because this story isn't rare. It happens every day, all across the country, in big cities and small towns, with men and women over 35 who survive seasons they shouldn't have survived and somehow made it here. And heaven hasn't forgotten that. Now I want to give you something practical, because faith without action is incomplete faith, and you deserve to leave this video with real tools. The first step is called anchoring a new identity. Every day, in the morning, before checking your phone, before opening the banking app, before thinking about the bills, you're going to do one simple and powerful thing. You're going to speak out loud 3 affirmations based on who you are becoming, not on who you were. I'm not talking about generic phrases copied from the internet. I'm talking about specific declarations about your reality. For example, I'm a person who attracts opportunities aligned with my purpose. Or, I make financial decisions with wisdom and clarity. Or, resources and the right connections come to me with increasing ease. Does that sound too simple? Neuroscience shows that the repeated practice of positive self-declaration activates the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for planning and decision-making. You literally begin to see opportunities that your brain previously filtered out as irrelevant. And from a spiritual point of view, you are aligning your confession with the decree heaven has already established over you. Words create atmospheres, and atmospheres attract realities. The second step is what I call frequency cleansing. This has as much to do with relationships as with information. What you consume mentally every day is formatting your reality. If you spend hours watching negative news, if you're surrounded by people who only complain and never believe, if the conversations around you are always about scarcity and impossibility, your nervous system calibrates to that frequency. And on that frequency, blessings don't land, not because God is holding them back, but because you aren't tuned in to receive them. This doesn't mean cutting people off coldly or isolating yourself from the world. It means making conscious choices about what enters your mind every day. It means including more content that elevates, that inspires, that presents possibilities. It means having at least one conversation a day with someone who believes in you. And if you don't have that person yet, start being that person for yourself. The third step is what the Bible calls stewardship, and what behavioral science calls signaling commitment. It means you begin to treat what you have now as if it were already the beginning of abundance, not the end of scarcity. This changes everything. When you take good care of the little, your brain registers that you are a person who knows how to manage resources. And God, who observes the heart, sees that you can be trusted with much. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever is faithful with very little will also be faithful with much." This isn't just a spiritual principle. It's a law of behavior. People who treat well what they have develop habits and mindsets that make them capable of receiving and keeping more. In practice, this can be as simple as organizing your current finances, however small they may be. Knowing exactly what comes in and what goes out, setting aside a small amount, any amount, as an offering, as a tithe, as an investment in yourself, not because God needs your money, but because this act declares to your own belief system that you are in a mode of abundance, not survival. And that declaration has power. Now I need to talk about something many people don't talk about, and it's perhaps the most important part of all. Most people who are waiting for a financial turnaround are waiting for it to come from the outside in, for a check to appear, for a job to fall from the sky, for an inheritance to materialize out of nowhere. And while God certainly can operate that way, most divine transfers begin from the inside out. They begin with an idea, with a direction, with a sudden clarity that appears during prayer, during a shower, during a walk. That clarity is the first visible sign of divine financing in action. And when it arrives, most people hesitate, because the idea seems too big or too different or too scary. And so they wait for another sign, and another, and another, and the window closes. Heaven doesn't repeat the same instruction indefinitely. There is a point where obedience needs to happen with what you have and what you know now, not with what you will have or know later. Abraham didn't know where he was going when he left. Noah hadn't seen rain before he built the ark. David had no battle experience when he went to face Goliath. Obedience always precedes confirmation. So the question I leave for you now is, what is the idea, the direction, the step you already know you need to take, but are waiting for a guarantee before you act? Because that guarantee probably won't come before the action. It will come because of the action. I want you to stop for a moment and really think about this, not as a philosophical exercise, but as a real diagnosis of your life. Is there something that has been in your heart for months, maybe years, that you keep putting off? A business, a return to studies, a reconciliation, a difficult conversation, an investment in yourself? This postponement has an invisible cost that goes far beyond money. It costs identity. Every time you ignore what your spirit knows it needs to do, you weaken your own ability to trust yourself. And it is exactly that trust you will need to receive and sustain what is coming. But here's the good news, and I need you to hear this well. God doesn't just prepare the provision, He prepares the vessel. And the fact that you have made it here, survived what you've survived, kept your heart open in spite of everything, already proves you are the right vessel. You are not being tested to fail, you are being tested to reveal what is already within you. There's a phrase by the theologian A.W. Tozer that has never left my mind. He said, God cannot greatly use a man until he has deeply wounded him. The wounds you carry are not marks of failure. They are credentials of depth. And it is exactly that depth your next level will require. Think of it this way. A doctor who has never faced their own pain treats patients with technique, but without compassion. A counselor who has never been through a crisis brings theory, but not presence. You who have survived what you've survived carry within you an authority that schools don't teach and diplomas don't confer. That authority is part of what will be released along with the provision. Because your next level isn't just financial. It's about influence, impact, legacy. And legacy is something this nation needs very much today. Think of the generations that came before you. How many in your family never had the chance to break the cycle? How many talents were buried for lack of opportunity, of vision, of someone who came before and opened a path? You are in that position now, not just to change your life, but to change the starting point for those who come after you. The provision that is coming isn't just yours. It has a generational address, and that changes the nature of your responsibility. It's no longer just about surviving or even prospering. It's about building something that lasts, something your children and grandchildren can use as a platform to go even further than you did. This is what the Bible calls an inheritance, not just financial, but of character, of faith, of principles, of relationship with God. And to build an inheritance, you need something no money can buy. You need clarity of purpose. Purpose isn't an abstract concept reserved for pastors and missionaries. Purpose is the answer to the question, why exactly you? Why you with these talents, in this family, in this city, at this moment in history? When you begin to answer that question honestly, Something reorganizes inside. Priorities become clearer. The waste of energy on irrelevant things decreases, and the strength you used for survival begins to be redirected to build. Let me give you an exercise that may seem simple, but has impressive depth. Take a piece of paper and a pen and write the answer to this question. If I had no financial limits, what would I be doing with my time? Don't think about a right or wrong answer. Don't censor yourself. Just write what comes from the depths of your heart. This exercise isn't about daydreaming. It's about access, because the answer that emerges when you remove the filter of fear and scarcity is often the most honest answer about what you were made for. And God doesn't give dreams without the intention of also giving the necessary resources to fulfill them. The dream is the map, the provision is the fuel, and the character you developed in the difficult seasons is the vehicle. You are in possession of all three. Now, before I reach the final part of this video, I need to talk about something that will seem counterintuitive, but is absolutely essential: gratitude as a spiritual and neurological strategy. The science of well-being, highlighted by research from the University of California, Berkeley, has shown that the regular practice of genuine gratitude not only improves people's emotional state, but literally reorganizes the brain's architecture. People who practice gratitude consistently have greater activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, the area associated with empathy, ethical decision-making, and long-term perspective. In simple terms, grateful people make better decisions, especially under pressure. From a spiritual point of view, gratitude is the language of the kingdom of abundance. When you give thanks for what you have, you are declaring that God is faithful. And when you declare that God is faithful in the little, you open space for Him to be faithful in the much. There's a crucial difference between performative gratitude and genuine gratitude. Performative gratitude is what you do because you think you should, because you read it's good to do, but without a real connection, it produces little effect. Genuine gratitude is what is born when you truly stop, close your eyes, and think about what your life would be like if it weren't for this breath, this roof, this person who stayed by your side, this moment when you almost gave up but didn't. When you reach that level of gratitude, something breaks inside in a good way. And in that breaking, the new can enter. So here is my invitation to you today, not tomorrow, today. Before you sleep tonight, set aside 5 minutes. Turn off the TV, set your phone aside, and in silence or in prayer, mentally walk through the last few years of your life, not to review the pains, but to recognize the protections. Every time you escaped the worst, every time someone appeared when you needed them, every time a bill was paid in a way you didn't understand how. These aren't accumulated coincidences. They are evidence of a supernatural attention on your life. And when you see that clearly, you stop being just a survivor of your past and become a conscious heir of your future. Now, I want to deepen something that many videos about prosperity never touch. And that's exactly where the difference lies between those who receive the blessing and manage to sustain it and those who receive and lose it. There's a concept theologians and psychologists call containment capacity. It's a person's ability to sustain a new reality without collapsing back into the old one. Think of a rubber band. If you stretch a rubber band beyond its limit, it snaps. But if you stretch it little by little with consistency, the rubber band expands and holds the new shape. The same happens with your capacity to receive blessings. A person who has never worked on their identity, never faced their fears, never been confronted with their limiting beliefs, when they receive a great provision, literally cannot hold it. It's not a lack of faith, it's a lack of containment capacity. And do you know what expands that capacity? Exactly the difficult seasons you lived through. Every time you faced scarcity and didn't lose your integrity, your containment capacity grew. Every time you served without recognition, your internal structure strengthened. Every time you forgave, when you had every right to hold a grudge, you became a wider vessel. This isn't just spiritual poetry, it's psychological reality. People with high frustration tolerance, the ability to delay gratification, and a stable sense of identity are exactly the people who can build and maintain wealth consistently, according to decades of research in financial psychology. You were trained for this, perhaps without knowing, perhaps without wanting to, but you were. And now comes the practical part of this capacity expansion that you can still do intentionally, starting today. The first exercise is what I call the practice of voluntary discomfort. Once a week, do something small that you normally avoid out of fear or discomfort. It could be a call you've been putting off. It could be asking for a raise you deserve but never had the courage to request. It could be starting to write that business plan that's in your head. It could be enrolling in a course you think you won't finish. Every time you act in spite of fear, you are literally recalibrating your nervous system for a new normal. And that new normal opens space for blessings that before would have been too big for you to receive. The second exercise is what I call a declaration of inheritance. This will seem unusual, but I ask you to try it. Write a letter to your children, grandchildren, or to the people you want to impact in the future, as if you were already living the abundant life you desire. Not in the future, in the present. Write as if it has already happened. Describe how the turnaround was. Describe what you built. Describe how you feel. This exercise activates what neuroscientists call prospective simulation, the brain's ability to create memories of the future that function as neural maps for present behavior. In spiritual language, it's what the Bible calls calling things that are not as though they were, present in Romans 4:17. It's not a denial of current reality. It's an intentional anticipation of future reality. The third exercise is to build what I call a purpose anchor. Every time you feel the weight of doubt, the return of fear, the voice that says it won't work, you will have a phrase, a word, an image, or a memory that anchors you back to what you know to be true. For some, that anchor is a scripture verse. For others, it's the memory of a child's face. For others still, it's the recollection of a moment when God was faithful in a way impossible to explain. Choose your anchor, write it down, put it in your wallet, on your mirror as your phone's wallpaper, and every time doubt comes, you don't have to fight it. You simply touch the anchor and remember who you are and what has already been done for you. Because the battle for your next level won't be fought primarily in the financial field. It will be fought first in your mind, and whoever wins in the mind wins in life. There's a truth that needs to be said here with all possible clarity. Most people don't lose their blessing for lack of opportunity. They lose it for lack of internal preparation to receive it. The opportunity passes. The investor appears and leaves. The idea arises and is ignored. The door opens and fear paralyzes. And then comes regret. And regret feeds the belief that it just wasn't for me. But it wasn't a lack of destiny, it was a lack of readiness. And readiness is built now. With intention, with the exercises I just gave you, with the conscious decision that you will no longer let fear be louder than your faith. Because heaven is moving resources in your direction. That's the decree. But you need to be positioned to receive. And positioning isn't passivity. Positioning is active preparation while you wait in faith. Think of the farmer. He doesn't plant the seed and then go to sleep waiting for the harvest to appear. He plants, waters, tends the soil, removes the weeds, protects from pests. He works as if it depends on him and trusts as if it depends on God. That's the mindset of a kingdom heir. Human action plus divine grace. Effort plus faith. Planning plus prayer. Not one or the other, both together. And you who are watching this video, who have made it this far, are already showing you have that mindset. Because you didn't give up. You are seeking, you are preparing, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So here is my invitation to you today, not tomorrow, today. Before you sleep tonight, set aside 5 minutes. Turn off the TV, set your phone aside, and in silence or in prayer, mentally walk through the last few years of your life, not to review the pains, but to recognize the protections. Every time you escaped the worst, every time someone appeared when you needed them, every time a bill was paid in a way you didn't understand how. These aren't accumulated coincidences. They are evidence of a supernatural attention on your life. And when you see that clearly, you stop being just a survivor of your past and become a conscious heir of your future. Because the future prepared for you is real. It's not a vague promise. It's not a consolation for hard times. It's a decree that was established even before your birth, and that now, at this exact moment in history, is reaching the point of manifestation. The pressure you feel isn't a warning of danger. It's a sign of birth. And every birth hurts, but every birth also delivers life. What is being born in your story now is bigger than you imagine. It's more specific than any dream you've had so far, and it's more real than any doubt that still tries to convince you it won't happen. You were chosen for this moment, not by accident, not by human merit, but by a grace that doesn't ask permission from circumstances and doesn't bow to statistics. Your future is secure, not because everything is easy now, but because what takes care of you doesn't operate by the logic of the easy. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.